So we get the woman unnamed because obviously the authors, whoever they may be, didn't have the actual original material near them. Potiphar's wife, we know that's who it is, Potiphar's wife. How do we know it's Potiphar's wife? Because we have the original of the story in the Joseph material, in the so-called Western Bible. I don't know why they call it a Bible. It's based on the word biblos, which means book, the book. I mean, I don't know what you want to call it. In any case, it's Potiphar's wife. Even the Old Testament doesn't know her name, just knows her husband. But the stories differ on the interesting character that we have here in the Quran. The woman's character, the husband's character, Joseph's character, the casual observer who says, look at the shirt and see if it's ripped from the front or the back. All that is new material having to do with character. And the prophet feels that the word I was looking for the husband, he's henpecked the husband. He's not able to act. And though I think it's interesting the way the prophet or the angel presents the material here, I think it does lessen the impact of the story in terms of plot. Now, it increases the story in terms of character, I agree, but lessens the impact in terms of plot. You don't get that swift-moving plot that are so typical of so-called Bible stories. And this is one of the most interesting ones. And of course, the realism of the Bible story is not here. I mean, obviously, the husband would not start, chatting with the slave boy, and and the women wouldn't be brought in to see how beautiful Joseph was. All these new elements that are added that really say, how do you know they're added? Well, because I've read the different stories. And you say, well, I haven't. Well, you read them and then you judge. That's the best way to find out these things. So all these different elements that are new, so the story grinds to a halt because the prophet really, or the angel, is not really interested in saving the Jewish people. But the Old Testament is. That's what the Old Testament's all about, saving the people. And Joseph has to go to prison, so the fact this woman makes a pass at him and he resists or whatever, the husband sends him to prison, which would be quite normal, but that's what the movement of these events leads him into Pharaoh's confidence, court, and a high position in Pharaoh's court. In any case, finally we did do this. By line 40, Joseph is following Islam, and he's following, he has surrendered, and he is basically a Muslim. I think, let's see, I think that's basically enough. I read you that material about where I think things are beginning to deteriorate a bit in terms of biographical material, where we're talking about the different wives and how you shouldn't talk to the prophet's wives. We read that, didn't we? Yeah. So I think there we're getting a situation where the powers are beginning to, and people do get older, Now I know a believer wouldn't agree that anything has changed, and that's the difference between, believers and non-believers, academics and non-academics. You take your pick on that. I'm sure the new Supreme Court justice wouldn't agree that the powers have diminished. I mean, we've got probably a religious fanatic coming in as the Supreme Court justice or something like that has now been chosen and so on. So that's what makes horse racing. Everyone has a different view of things. Some people are more conventionally pious. Other people are more iconoclastic. I'm afraid you're looking at an iconoclast. I apologize. Okay, I think we set the Quran aside, and I think we can move on to the second part of what we want to do in this course. We left the Prophet when he was having troubles in Medina and fighting his various battles. He'd left and gone to Medina. What are the names of the people? I'm going to sketch the history of Islam now for you. If you have in your history books that I've given you up to the caliphates and things,